don't give a dang about nothing. I'm singing.
Hey everyone, welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. Glad you guys are back for another video. Just catching up on a lot of news that pertains to the Indoor Football League and everything that's going along with it. And you see the down low right next to me. Let's just jump right in. Okay, so roster roundup, and it's been a week or two, a couple of weeks, and this just got updated, I believe, on the 13th of February. I know the down low here thing has it as the 6th, but as I was making all of the graphics, the IFL surprised us and put out another bunch of transactions. So quite a bit of things to talk about here. I'm not going to touch on all of them. Quite a few players released. I don't really talk about players getting released because they got released, so they can sign with another team, and I'll talk about them then, or they just go on to greener pastures, I guess. But let's kind of go team by team a little bit here, starting with Arizona. Biggest thing that they have going on for them right now, Dawson Evans, very talented kicker for them. He's re-signed for the 2025 season. Had the pleasure of interviewing him on the Shady Sports Network at one point. Very chill dude, so nice to see Arizona bring him back. For Bay Area, they have signed Landry Mavungu, I believe is how it's pronounced, and they have had Elias Bell go to the Canadian Football League. So not really much on the Panthers front. For Fishers, huge one here, they have gotten Jahari Branch. This man just should never buy a house because he is moving anywhere he gets traded to. He's traded again, this time I believe from Tucson all the way to Fishers. And then they have signed a couple more offensive linemen to help out with their depth. Over to Green Bay, Harry Ballard is signed. He was signed with injured reserve, so I'm not sure if he's actually off of injured reserve, but Green Bay has put out their little news hit that he is re-signed for the season. They have also signed Raymond Boone, who is with Northern Arizona, and they had signed Tyler Hudson a few months ago, and he has refused to report. So his contract is with him, but he's not showing up. It's kind of how refuse to report goes. For Iowa, they have signed Isaac Duffy, and then Xavier Steele has been suspended. Most of the time that means that he is off to a different league. I can't say for certain if that's the case here, but that's how we just kind of go with it. Jacksonville has a trade with Quad City. Karan Ashley, very good wide receiver for the Steamwheelers last season. He is on his way over to Jacksonville. A couple of other signings for the Sharks, and Bryant Nolan Jr. has been put on the physically unable to perform list. So we'll see if he gets off of that before the season starts. For Massachusetts, they have signed quite a bit of a veteran presence, starting with Thomas Owens, Jordan McRae, and Tommy Champion. All have been with the Pirates before. Thomas Owens, I believe, is the most veteran player that the Pirates have signed or have kept. I think he's been with them since day one, if I'm not mistaken. And then down at the bottom, they've got a couple of rookies signed. And then Matt Elam returns again. He had retired in the offseason. He had joined Fisher's coaching staff and apparently unretired and has signed with Massachusetts. So I'm not saying there's anything bad going on with that, but hey, maybe he just wants to keep playing. Who knows? For Northern Arizona, they've just signed quite a bit of offensive line depth, and Aiden Lee as a wide receiver. A couple players go on league IR with Marcus Bragg and Anthony Barber. So just quite a bit of offensive line right there. I think Northern Arizona is just trying to figure that, the trenches out for them. Quad City has quite a few transactions, starting with Kevon Rudd and Easton Bianchi coming back. I think Easton Bianchi only played in one game, if I was looking at my stats the other day correctly. Kevon Rudd, a very, very integral part for Quad City. So if they still have Daquan Neal throwing him the ball, that could be a very good, deadly combination for them. Going down, a couple of other signings, couple of defensive linemen, defensive back, and then some league IR. Sonny Lane, Sherrod Page, and Warren Newman are all part of the league IR, so we'll see what happens with them. And then refused to report Arian Harvey. I'm sorry, I forgot to do this. Tyrone Patterson, he is the receiving end of the Karan Ashley trade with Jacksonville. So a huge trade there with Quad City and Jacksonville getting an offensive lineman for Quad City, wide receiver depth for the Sharks. Moving over to Tucson, big signing there. Charles McCollum is signed as quarterback for Tucson. Will he start? Probably. Charles McCollum and Billy Back have had a huge history dating all the way back to the Wichita Falls Nighthawks, Spokane Shock, Carolina Cobras of the NAL. I mean, they are just at each other's hip. So it's just going to be more of the same there. They might as well just get Tyrant Laughinghouse out of retirement since he retired and go get Jordan Jolly too. So that's what I remember with Wichita Falls, and I think even a little bit with Spokane and Carolina. So cool. It's nice to see that, because that also bodes well that I think it's the last 7 or 8 MVPs of the league. Charles McCollum, TJ Edwards, Jerome Johnson. I know I'm leaving a couple out, but I mean, the last few MVPs, Drew Powell. Yeah, he's the other one in there. Yeah, it's cool. Daquan Neal as well. I know I mentioned him with Quad City. So there you go. Charles McCollum with them. Brevin Jones was the trade target from Jahari Branch with Massachusetts. So Fishers, not Massachusetts. Fishers. Brevin Jones comes from Fishers over to Tucson. And then just a couple of other guys. Deontay Stanley refuses to report. Finally, Vegas signs former Sioux Falls Storm defensive back Rome Weber. I believe it's Weber. And then Latavius Brini is off to the Canadian Football League. So just a quick rundown when it comes to all of the transactions within, I believe, the last 2 weeks or something. I think that should get us all caught up when it comes to where each team is as we just inch closer and closer to the start of 2025. So let's move on and let's talk about some more stuff. All right, so big news out of the Indoor Football League a couple days ago. They have partnered with a company called Snipback in order to kind of just use their technology for games. And it's going to include stuff. You can go find it on the website. I'm not going to link it or anything. Sorry. But it's going to include stuff like live stats, instant replay, and AI-driven end zone cameras. So areas where you might not be able to see where the ball is, where the player is, or like if the ball has crossed the plane, things like that. Maybe if a player goes over the wall, if I'm kind of understanding this to the best of my knowledge, AI is going to be able to generate, did the ball cross the goal line? Did the player hold on to the ball? Things along those lines, like I said, with live stats, instant replay kind of stuff. It's going to, I wouldn't say it's going to change the game. I think it's going to help kind of police the game a little bit and give fans a really, really good look into the Indoor Football League. So it's going to kind of change the way that the game it's not played, but the way that fans look at it and the way that coaches kind of look at the stats, and if they want to throw their challenge flags for end zone touchdowns and things along those lines. So I think it's going to be kind of cool. I like it. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of putting AI in, but I haven't seen it yet, so I can't make a full-blown judgment on how they're going to implement this. The way I kind of think about it is like tennis, when you have like where the ball lies on the line, when they're kind of generating that kind of stuff with camera angles and speed and all of that. So I kind of think it's going to be along those lines. I could be completely wrong, and that's okay, but that's just kind of where I go. I do like it. I think it's going to help the game immensely, from the coaches looking at the iPads to fans wanting to look at live stats and see who's doing what and when and where. So I do like how that's going to go. So with that, kudos to the IFL for trying this stuff. I mean, not a lot of other leagues are looking to try and get things right. I mean, you talk about all the ref issues that are in any league, whether it's college, NFL, probably CFL here. I mean, you see people gripe about the refs and the live chats and stuff like that were on YouTube. It's immaculate how refs can keep their jobs sometimes, and it's also one of the hardest jobs you can do. So you get ridiculed for just trying to be right. So I get it too. But yeah, that's where we're at. Snipback AI. That's it's going to be kind of cool. I'm kind of excited to see how it goes. So kudos to the IFL for implementing this, and we'll see how it truly transforms the game. So with that, let's move on. We have another potential expansion candidate. All right. So the last time we talked about any sort of expansion was a rumor on a message board about a potential team in South Carolina. This one This is from WIVB up in Buffalo. This one might have a lot of legs to it. Former Buffalo Bills wide receiver, current San Diego Strike Force wide receiver, and I believe potential minority owner for San Diego, I believe, or part of the management. I'm not sure. They're looking to bring an indoor football team to the city of Buffalo, New York. And that is a very, very good thing. It bridges the gap with Massachusetts to Fishers and kind of the Northern Plains area of the Indoor Football League. And if you read here within the article, again, not going to link it, but you just search Stevie Johnson IFL. It's one of the first things that pops up. Him and former Indoor Football League player Fred Jackson have both decided to go in on this. So with that being said, there's a potential for an Indoor Football League team in Buffalo. And then if you add that to the rumor, and again, I'm not going to confirm, I'd have no insight or anything, the rumor on Arena Fan of a potential South Carolina team, you add in Duke City and Sioux Falls coming back, as those are rumored to both return as well. You could have a potential of 4 teams coming back into the league or joining the league for 2026, and that could bump the number up to 18. That is huge for this league. For reference, I do not believe the Arena Football League ever had 20 teams. I think they got to 19 twice, because I know they had 19 teams, I believe in 2007 or 2008, because I remember watching the Kansas City Brigade. I believe it was 2007. They had 19 teams with New Orleans coming back and all of that stuff from Hurricane Katrina. So the Arena Football League had never had 20 teams, and then the Indoor Football League, if everything goes to fruition and the rumors are true and everything like that, could have 18. So they had 16 last year. They're 14 this year. You never know. But more or less on Buffalo here, it's a great market. Obviously, the Bills are huge right now. Josh Allen hype is huge, and they're just a sports town. I mean, I'm sorry about the Sabres, but Buffalo loves the Bills. I mean, as simple as that. Bills Mafia is out in full force, and you bring back the Buffalo Destroyers, and I think the hype could be real, especially if you get any sort of ownership with, I believe it's the Pagulas, who own the Bills and the Sabres. So if there's anything that can kind of commingle with that, cool. Other than that, I mean, we're just kind of in preliminary talks with Stevie Johnson, Fred Jackson, and things along those lines. But it looks like this rumor actually has legs if news companies are reporting on it. So this could be something, and we'll maybe see an announcement down the road. So Buffalo, you could get an Indoor Football League team, and like I said, that's a nice travel partner with Massachusetts. Fishers is right there as well as a shortened distance. It's all working out. You get that bridge, just like Commissioner Tryon said a year or two ago, get that bridge to the Northeast. If that South Carolina team is legit, you're building that bridge down to Jacksonville, and you're really starting to flesh out this area of the United States on the East Coast where there just hasn't really been a presence as of late. So kudos to that if all of this comes to fruition. And obviously you get Sioux Falls and Duke City back, so you're kind of getting the middle of the country, the Southwest. I mean, it's just it's all coming up Millhouse for them. So there you go. Let's talk some open tryouts and we'll get on out of here. All right, so last but not least, I want to touch on just the tryouts that are upcoming for half the league. So 7 teams right here. I'm looking over here, but it's going to pop up over here. So yeah, it's weird, but what can you do? Starting this upcoming Saturday. So this will probably come out Monday, the 17th, I think. Happy President's Day, by the way. Anyway, so this upcoming Saturday, the 22nd, there are 2 teams that have tryouts. It is the Green Bay Blizzard and the Jacksonville Sharks. I have the addresses here. Whoever watches these, share, like, whatever, if anyone wants to try out. I'm not in shape. I just watch the game. I don't play it. So, and I live nowhere near these places. But yeah, if you feel you want to try out for any of these teams, and you watch these videos, kudos to you. If not, and you know someone who wants to, go ahead and share it. It's also on the Indoor Football League's website. So again, go ahead and share it. Address, tryout time, start time, and cost and everything, all right there as well. So this Saturday, you got 2 teams. Next Saturday, or the Saturday after March 1st, you have 3 teams with Arizona, Bay Area and Quad City. And then the Saturday after that, you've got Northern Arizona and Tucson. So all 3 Arizona teams having tryouts. And March 8th is literally, 2 weeks away from the start of the season. So that is like really getting right up against the grain there for open tryouts. Most of the time, I won't say you have an outside shot, but most of the time the roster is probably in good hands a couple of weeks before the season. Now, I know not all these teams play week 1. There's 3 games, so 6 teams playing, so you got time, I guess. But anyway, there's your tryouts, addresses, everything like that, walk-up cost. If you think you have what it takes, by all means, go. If you don't, just be a fan like I am and enjoy it on the couch and ridicule the players that have a lot more talent than you ever will. So, yeah, my mom can make that throw, I say, as I have Cheeto dust all over my hands. Anyway, that is the team tryout session. Let's go finish this up with a quick goodbye. We just get on out of here. And that's it. That's all the news for right now. To my knowledge, at least. I'm sure there's other things. Other leagues are dealing with other things. And the IFL just keeps chugging along. We're probably going to get a news article sometime soon from the league, hopefully about this new streaming service. I'm kind of waiting with bated breath when it comes to that, so I can throw down my $50 and figure out what it's all going to be about. A new website popping up as well, along with... And I'm hoping each team does it, but I'm also hoping, and again, I'm kind of a fan of MLS. I used to be, at least. I don't like the Apple TV Plus deal. But anyway, I used to be a huge Sporting Kansas City fan, and they used to do a thing called Kit Week. And they've been doing, well, they still do it. But the MLS has kind of like dropped each jersey for each team this year. They do it every year for like home and aways and stuff like that. And I'm hoping with the new Adidas deal, which if you haven't remembered, Adidas is partnering with, or at least part of Adidas is partnering with the Indoor Football League for all new uniforms. So I'm hoping that sometime in the next couple of weeks, each team can drop their uniform, home, away, alternate, all the different helmet combos, pants combos, and stuff like that, because I'm just a huge uniform nerd. I love the aesthetics that you have, anything when it comes to jerseys, helmets, pants, clearly. So yeah, I'm hoping they can do some sort of kit week, quote unquote, and you start seeing each team kind of drop their uniforms. I know Fishers kind of has their primary uniform, their home uniform, in one of their photos. So if you go on their, I think it's their Twitter or Facebook or maybe both or something, you kind of get a sneak peek with the railroad guard across the chest and across the sleeve caps. So that's kind of cool. Matches the helmet and everything along those lines. So with that being said, I hope to see some risks. I do like Northern Arizona's uniforms with the gray sleeve caps and the gray pants or white pants. I hope some teams kind of zhuzh it up a little bit. And Green Bay actually has kind of had their mock-ups. I think their podcast has kind of spilled the beans a little bit on like the white yoke with green jersey and then vice versa for their away uniform. So you're already gotten some leaks out. So I would love to see how all these other teams do it. But until then, we'll know more when the transactions start to fire back up and any other news comes down the pipe. So until then, guys, I know I rambled at the end of this, but that's how much I love uniforms and the color combinations and stuff. That's my nerdiness and geeking out. So anyway, with that being said, I'm taking off here, guys. I don't really have anything else to add, but with that being said, I will catch you in the next video. See ya.
I make a lot of noise, 'cause the girls, they are so pretty.